Patch notes! Destiny 2 update 6.3.0. Jesus, there's a lot of things. Activities, raids and dungeons. Fix an issue in the Vow of the Disciple, where encounter challenges were unintentionally active for guided games. Fix an issue where the Regicide Triumph for King's Fall remained visible when it can no longer be obtained. Fix an issue in the King's Fall during the War Priest encounter where players could bypass plate mechanics. Fix an issue in the King's Fall during the Daughter's encounter challenge that bypassed intended completion requirements. Oh, okay. Fix an issue in the Duality, where players sometimes self-revived and respawn outside of the final encounter. Artifice armor pieces that previously lost their bonus artifact mod sockets have now had those sockets restored and can be used to slot Season 19 artifact mods. Man, that took a whole season? That's like, wow. Crucible playlist, quick play. Is now a playlist with both Clash and Control. Yes, this was Cycle. It will use loose skill-based matchmaking, which we have tuned during Season 18, meaning what you've experienced before is as loose as it's going to get. And this is one of the rare situations where tight is not good. Weekly Rotator, 6v6 and free-for-all. Rotates weekly between Momentum Control, Mayhem, Scorch, Rift, and Rumble. Use purely connection-based matchmaking. Look at that. Connection-based matchmaking will be for the weekly Rotator. Competitive Division and Freelance 3v3. This is now a playlist randomly picking Survival, Rift, and Showdown. You will use a new skill-based matchmaking setting built using concepts we developed for loose skill-based matchmaking, tuning the Titan to match you more closely against opponents of your skill. We're going to see today how that's going to go. Yeah. Crucible Labs. During Season 19, Labs is showcasing 3v3 Rift with asymmetric maps. Labs now have a stacking 25% reputation booster. Crucible Lab will use connection-based matchmaking. Trials of Osiris. When Trials is active, it replaces Crucible Labs. Iron Banner Freelance 6v6. When Iron Banner is active, it will replace the Quick Play node, meaning you cannot avoid Iron Banner. When it is there, if you want to play 6v6, you have to play it outside of the weekly Rotator. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I don't know, Les. I mean, it's like, everybody just pile into the same playlist. Probably going to be healthy for the population, right? Competitive Division, Glory Progression deprecated. Now, the new Competitive Division ladder implemented. Progress through 7 divisions based on your skill in the Crucible, which includes Copper, Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Adept, and Ascendant. We're going to try to get Ascendant maybe this week. Earn, lose more or less skill by winning, playing well, having your division be above or below your skill rating, being better or worse than the rest of the lobby. Participate in placement series to start each season and be placed in an initial division based on your skill. Promotion series to promote to a higher division. Relegation series to avoid demotion to a lower division. Avoid division decay by playing some matches each week. Avoid division decay by playing some matches each week. Okay. All right. Did they just like repost the same sentence twice? Cool. Shax has an intro quest to get you started. Competitive Division rewards, a cool division. Your division gives you a stack and Crucible rank bonus, Copper and Bronze, 1 time, Silver 1.1, Gold 1.2, Platinum 1.3, Adept 1.4, and Ascendant 1.5. Once a week, each character can complete a competitive division challenge to earn a drop of the Rose hand cannon. Again, this is for each character. This is the only way you're going to be able to get Rose. Thing like Hawkman. Quick Play. We are implementing a new matchmaking parameter in Quick Play, Fireteam size. Expect more Fireteam versus Fireteam matches in Quick Play. And as the season continues, other playlists. Lower the amount of suspension time handed out for serial quitting in the Quick Play playlists. But notice they just lowered it. It's still going to be present. Added the amount of time remaining to all suspension messages and made the message trigger when clicking on the node. If you want to know how much time you have left before you can play again, the information is now available. Rewards. New Crucible Seal and title. Unbroken and its glory-related triumphs have been memorialized. Added new Crucible title, Glorious, and new triumphs. Crucible Ingrams. Crucible Ingrams will be a virtual currency and live exclusively on the rank progress bar on Lord Shax. Players can obtain Crucible Ingrams by visiting Shax. No ROW is needed. You'll be able to just pull it directly from there. Crucible Gear Focusing. You can focus the Crucible Ingram directly into either Crucible Armor or Crucible Weapons without actually having to pull the Ingram first. Crucible Gear Focusing cost for Season 19 will include 1 Crucible Ingram, 10,000 Glimmer, 50 Legendary Shards. Crucible Ingrams do not need to be claimed to be spent on focusing. Yep. Individual pieces of gears must have been acquired at least once prior to being available for focusing. Crucible Armor available for focusing in Season 19. The Clutch Exto set. Crucible weapons available for focusing include the Stars and Shadow, the Keening, Frozen Orbit, which is fantastic, Survivor's Epitaph, Sorrow's Verse, Crisis Inverted, Riptide, which you need to get a chill clip roll, and Out of Bounds, which is also a very good SMG. Brand new Crucible weapons are only available as drops during their introductory season, or then available for focus in the following season. Wow. All right. RNG, baby. Other Shacks changes. The kill tracker ghost shell will no longer appear at Lord Shacks if it has already been acquired. It may be reacquired from collections. All right. Bounties. Players will no longer be able to summon sparrows in the Mavic Square during the Lake of Shadow Strike. Okay. Is that like in the second portion where you could speed past blights? You bastards, Bungie. What the hell? Fix an issue where some champion strings display the wrong icons. Fix rare issues of objectives not updating in the Warden of Nothing strike. Yeah, that's a weird change for Lake of Shadows, right? Is that at the start? Oh, so not even the blight area? Oh no. Modes. Quick play suspension timer is now separate from competitive. Suspension timing remaining is now displayed. Showdown heavy ammo initial spawn time increased to 60 seconds. Is not shareable. It only spawns once per round. Rift heavy ammo is not shareable. 3v3 Rift and Showdown resurrect timer sets to 2 seconds. Respawn timer set to 7 seconds. Mode rule descriptions added to launch screen of all Crucible modes. Loading screen hints added for all Crucible and Iron Banner modes. Curated maps in all Crucible modes. Curated. Curated. General, Eternity should now award progress towards This Is the Way Triumph and Trials. Fix landing cinematic for Disjunction and Glory playlist. Crucible rank reputation is increased based on your rank 3v3 ladder rank. Okay. And that affects everything? All Crucible rank? Interesting. Might and multi-tool catalyst can now drop from any Crucible win. Strikes. Players will no longer be able to summon sparrows in the Mavic Square. Okay. Are we like reposting some of these? Okay. All right. You're not going to be able to summon sparrows. Fix an issue where some champion string displays the wrong icons. Fix rare issues of objectives not... I'm going in circles reading this stuff, man. Public events. Increase Glimmer awards for completing public events. This is going to be a huge change, guys. 10,000 Glimmer to 12,500 Glimmer per heroic public event completed. Non-heroic public events will reward 3,300 to 4,600 Glimmer. Again, if you're out in the wild and you're playing with some blueberries and they mess things up and they don't actually spawn the heroic public events, it is your personal responsibility to get on public chat and rag the piss out of them, okay? Call them a noob, call them every name you can possibly call them, tell them how garbage they are, and then refer them to probably Dado's channel for how to trigger heroic public events, okay? UI UX fix an issue preventing the color preview squares for colorblind settings for updating until navigating away from the settings screen and back. Fix an issue where the fast travel tutorial would appear multiple times during new lights and cannot be dismissed. All right. Gameplay and investment. Shaders reduce glow intensity of Gamut Jadestone to be in line with that of other shaders. Okay. This was done to diminish the negative impact of the shader on fellow Guardians. Other such shaders will follow in the future. Warm God Caress reduced the maximum damage multiplier from 7.5 to 3.5. We've seen that. Winter's Guile is also reduced to 3.5. Lucky Pants no longer scale the damage of the jolted status effect when applied by hand cannon. Huh. Okay. And that sounds like it would have been fantastic. Moz, Restore to Finisher no longer prevents you from performing a finisher if you do not have enough super energy to trigger its benefits. Oh, that's good. Unstoppable Hand Cannon now correctly requires you to aim down sights without firing your hand cannon before activating the unstoppable effect. All right. Weapons. General. Added full auto toggle to the gameplay section of the settings menu. This will make all weapons fire at full auto. Reduce the size and intensity of luminous muzzle flash in order to alleviate photosensitivity concerns. Okay. Omlon weapons will now correctly display the liquid ammunition color that corresponds to the damage type while in the inspection screen. Shoot to loot can once again pick up ammo via explosion damage. Nice. 2XS, which is the opulent origin trait, no longer displays a stacking counter when triggering on multiple weapons. This is purely a visual change. All right, weapons. By the way, big change here, guys. This is, of course, the full auto toggle. We're going to look at that as soon as we go into the game, okay? Let me know whenever you get into the game, okay, bud?
Okay.
Weapon archetypes, sidearms, reduce zoom stat on Drang. This is a nerf, 14 to 13. Fusion rifle main ingredient, reduce the stability to 35 from 49, and the aim assist from 59 to 45. Yeah, I'd say fusions are still really, really good. We'll see how it plays out. They rebuilt the fusion rifle hipfire reticle to react more obviously to changes in accuracy cone. Shotgun. They added fixed pellet spreads to each legendary pellet shotgun subfamily and matching custom reticle. So aggressive will have And we've already seen the pictures of this, but a fixed evenly distributed cone precisions will actually have more of an oval shaped. Lightweight will be a diamond, and then rapid fire will be squared. Nothing will be changed for the slug shotgun. Updated reticle for the slug shotgun to better represent precision though. Rapid fire, increased PV damage by 5%. Reload speed benefit now applies at all times instead of only when reloading from empty. Aggressives. Fix several shotguns which are using the incorrect intrinsic aggressive perk. Now all aggressive shotguns will increase RPM after kill as intended. Now, glaives. Glaive projectiles have been adjusted for more reliable hit detection. Glaive melee attacks can now benefit from the exotic armor perks on Syntheseps, Worm God Caress, and Winter's Guile. Now, Worm God Caress, Winter's Guile did get a nerf. Syntheseps did not. So I highly advise, like, we're going to immediately be doing a glaive melee-based build with Syntheseps and biotic enhancements. Glaive melee damage multipliers reduced by 25 to 30% against champions. That's a huge nerf. But this is also against mini bosses, and beagles. Majors and minors do remain unchanged. Glaive melee base damage reduced from 75 to 67. That's in Crucible. Grenade launchers, the Queen Breaker and Grand Overture, switched from the old blinding screen effect to the new arc blinding one with reduced screen effect brightness. Hand cannon, Rose also have new stats, increased range from 38 to 43. Reduced stability from 45 to 40, reduced handling from 68 to 60, and airborne effectiveness on it will be a default 20. We'll see how it does. I love Rose. And again, it's going to perform like a lightweight too. Weapon mods, the Dragonfly, Rampage, and surrounding perks now have their spec mod behaviors enabled by default. You won't need that to actually buff things. It'll be built in by default. Perks, Air Assault will now grant a stacking bonus to airborne effectiveness. Maximum 2 stacks, 1 per final blow, 2 per airborne final blow. Each stack is a plus 30 airborne effectiveness buff. Y'all heard Les just now talking about airborne effectiveness, like on things like Allstringer. It actually may be the play. Headseeker, body shots now increase your precision multiplier, increases aim assist. Additional body shots resets the timer. There's a 0.55 second base timer. Body shots while the perk is active resets the timer. We have got to test out Headseeker today. Matter of fact, editors, if we can please get a list together of the things we need to immediately test and things like PvP. Headseeker, though, is one of those I do want us to check. I want us to see how good it's performing. You can get it on sidearms. You can get it on pulse rifles. I want to see how it's performing. Encore is another one we need to look at. Final blows now grant stacks of Encore. Stacks grant increased stability, range, and accuracy. Plus 8 stability, plus 5 range, and a 1.25 accuracy percentage accuracy per stack. Body shot final blows grant 1 stack. Precision final blows grant 2 stacks with a maximum of 4 stacks. It lasts for 7 seconds. Enhanced Encore will last for 7.5 seconds. Final blows refreshes the timer. Seraph rounds remove the 10% range scaler. Now gives the plus 7 stability and plus 3 range. One thing we need to check is Seraph rounds, if it's still the same hybrid ricochet and high caliber in one. So we still need to look at that. Tunnel vision plus kill clip. The duration of these buffs can now be refreshed if activated while already active, but they did reduce the damage bonus from kill clip from 33% to now 25%. That's a pretty substantial nerf. It does change up a lot of... I wouldn't say it changed up some of, like, the forgiveness. Yes, I think TTK values for the most part, the 25% is still going to be enough, but that is a big change. Redirection now builds stacks against minor enemies and consumes them on everything else. That is matches minor spec and other perks that use similar language. Hockey Breach Armaments now increases damage versus Ward of Dawn while a radiant sword by 30%. I didn't see anything that's like aiding us in our artifact mods for that, so as we can get the 60%. I guess I just mean like in general when we do get another Hockey Breach, like Hockey related artifact mod in the future. Gut Chase Straight increased the bonus auto rifle body shot damage from 10% to 20%. That is actually going to probably be really good. I think Amit, you can get enhanced gut shot straight. We're definitely going to be trying it out. Compulsive Reloader now remains active down to half the mag. High Impact Frame Intrinsic perk now allows a very small amount of movement instead of turning off with any movement. That means all high impact should be feeling noticeably more accurate. Ambitious Assassin increases allowed time between final blows from 5 seconds to now 7 seconds. Well-rounded duration increased from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. Stacking the effect still resets the timer. Recombination fix the perk to work correctly in PvP. Grants up to 100% bonus damage at max stacks in PvE and is 50% inside of PvP. Yeah, it had issues where it wasn't working in PvP. It also had varying buffs that it gave. I think it was like, what was it? Like 100% for Heritage, 80% for Succession inside of PvE. So it should be 100% for both of those. Zen Moment no longer deactivates on a miss. Now has a 1-second timer. Rewind rounds now works correctly when hitting the cage created by Divinity. Genesis now triggers on breaking player shields. One Quiet Moment now reactivates much faster after a final blow. Gun and Run reduce the number of final blows needed to activate. Box Breathing reduce the damage bonus on scout rifles by 5%. This, of course, is going to keep us from 3-tapping with the likes of Hung Jury, which really sucks. Unstoppable Force reduce damage bonus from 30% to now 20%. 1-2 Punch reduce the bonus melee damage as follows from 3 times to now 2 times versus most enemies with unpowered melees, and from 1.8 to 1.4 versus most enemies with charged melees. Reduce the additional bonus versus bosses from 0.5 to 0.25. I'm really surprised about this because, man, you got to be pretty bold to be rocking melee builds right now. Like, I don't think they're as strong as they were. Like, Bonk was like one that got really, really strong, but they nerfed that already. So I'm surprised they hit 1-2 Punch again. Enhanced perks, Enhance Unrelenting, remove the +5 handling, added +5 health regeneration. Enhanced Perpetual Motion, remove the 0.1 second faster activation, remove the 0.1 second grace period on in, and added a 1 second faster activation on 2 stacks.
Fight for the spark.
All right, enhanced time payload. Back to enhanced perpetual motion though, guys. This essentially removes, to a certain degree, the time it sits and persists, but it will activate a second faster. Enhanced time payload shifted the +5 range to now +5 stability. Enhanced explosive payload is actually shifted from +5 range to +5 reload. Enhanced firing line, they have added +10 handling when near allies. Remove the increased neutral range. Enhanced grave robber changed the +5 reload to +5 handling. Enhanced explosive light added one more charge. Stack caps at 7, so you can hold an extra enhanced explosive light. Enhanced cornered added +10 stability when active. Enhanced cold steel now adds +10 energy and weapon to be consistent with other ammo capacity increasing perks. Okay, weapon size. Okay, maybe that's what that is. Sizzle. Enhanced verbal weapon changed from +5 reload to now +5 stability. This will apply to guard resistance stat on swords. Enhanced Genesis, remove primary ammo overflow, now provides additional handling. Enhanced flash counter, corrected an issue where this only provided display stat to swords. Now this will probably provide increased ammo capacity. Again, man, I feel like that's such a missed opportunity to, like, you know, that's such a hard way to get a debuff on an enemy, right? Like, we should get more reward for getting that close to an enemy and literally letting them stomp us in the face. Enhanced chain reaction, updating its definition as inventory provides a different benefit to swords. Enhanced ambitious assassin, increase allowed time between final blows from 6 seconds to now 8 seconds. Exotics, the fundamentals traits present on damage type switching exotics like Borealis, Hard Light, and Dead Messenger. They've added stats to each element. Arc being 25 handling, +5 range. Solar being +35 reload speed and +20 airborne effectiveness. Void being +20 stability and +10 aim assist. Borealis, breaking a match shield, now refills the magazine from reserves and allows your next 5 shots to deal bonus damage, not deactivated by reloading anymore. This is actually a really big buff to Borealis. We'll be testing it. Jade Rabbit, they did a complete perk design on it. Quickly landing 3 crits returns 1 round to the magazine and allows your next body shot to land for increased damage. It can stack up to 3 increased damage body shots. It does reset if you reload. All right, moving on. With the addition of the full auto setting, we replaced the full auto trigger system perk with something else on each weapon that had it. No time to explain them. We need to test these exotics because they should be feeling phenomenal right now. Replace with Feeding Frenzy. Traveler's Chosen. Catalyst perk replaced with Surplus. It still has Osmosis though. Vigilant Swing, kind of a weaker perk, but Catalyst perk was replaced with Ensemble. I mean, it's still nice, but, you know, obviously we would have preferred something a little more useful in PvP. By the way, Textbook Flunky with the 6 gifted subs. Thank you so much. I love you. Dead Man's Tale now prefers critical hits over body hits and hip fire if both types of targets are inside the precision aim cone. We've got to try this out. DMT is a shell of its former self, but maybe this right here is going to be enough of a buff to get us to finally use DMT. It also got a body shot increase from 46 to 54, and they reduced the crit damage from 81 to 80. I wish they would have kept it at 81. This would have allowed us to kill targets 1 crit, 2 body at 190 health, which is what is that, guys? 4 resilience? Something like that. Maybe 3 resilience. I don't know. Darcy now applies Jolt when damaging targets affected by personal assistant. Increase the airborne effectiveness to a whopping 80. Meta. Wish Ender increased its hidden damage bonus versus Wither or Blighted targets from 10% to now 25%. Dude, Wish Ender is actually a pretty heavy hitter, guys. Like, don't sleep on Wish Ender, man. All right, Whisper the Worm increased base airborne effectiveness to 80. Prospector added chain reaction to the intrinsic perk. Fourth Horseman decreased recoil by 50%. That needed to happen a long time ago, man. When you're like at full rate of fire on Fourth Horseman, I don't know how anyone can see anything that they're shooting. You have to find just a big enough boss or target to hit. Forerunner increased the crit damage by 30% in PvE, but reduced the base damage from 40 to 37 and crit damage from 72 to 67 in PvP. The Rock perk, though, they did increase the damage by 60% in PvE, and they increased the damage at the outer edge damage radius from 0% to 20%, reduced ammo cost to activate from 6 to 4. Really, guys, Forerunner may actually be worth using inside of PvE. Merciless decreased charge time on hit, no longer resets on kill or on reload, and now works on a 5-second timer. The timer is refreshed when landing hits. Long story short, Merciless and its perk should have a lot more ease of use in essentially proccing that faster charge rate. Rat King, radius required to activate its perk increased from 15 meters to 20 meters. Legendary Acreus removed the movement penalties, so should it be... well, again, I didn't even know it actually hurts your movement, but I know the weapon itself feels sluggish, so that just contributed to that. Bastion reduced the spread angle by 6%. This halves the effect of Season 14 spread angle increase. This is an interesting one, guys. Bastion may actually be meta again. We'll have to see. I don't know. All right. Quicksilver Storm increased PvP maximum grenade damage from 80 to 120. Increased explosion radius from 3 meters to 4 meters. Switch the rocket damage from arc to kinetic. We will be testing to see if the rocket damage overall got a buff in damage. I know arc is good for burns, but outside of that, kinetics do more damage. So we'll be doing a side-by-side comparison. Cold Heart reduced cooldown on Onyx Trace generation from 3.5 seconds to now 2 seconds. Now maxes out stability and reload speed when at maximum damage. Picked up an Onyx Trace, now reduces the time it takes to get to max damage. Grand Overture increased the missile damage by 50%. We're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of that one too. Xenophage now deals roughly half of its damage as impact damage. The rest is detonation. The overall damage increase here is by 5%. Cloud Strike. The Lightning Storm will now correctly activate when hitting Divinity's Cage. This is a big deal because the Catalyst will be granting you triple tap. That's dropping this season. So we may actually have a Cloud Strike meta with Divinity there. With the Horde, reduced Taken Blight duration from 7.5 seconds to now 4.5. Divinity, they did reduce the Divinity's weaken from 30% to 15%. It will still self-buff to 30%. Gallahorn reduced primary rockets impact and detonation damage by 25%. Wolfpack rounds damage unaffected. Arbalest reduced body shot damage to match Lawrence Driver. So nobody can run around and keep one-shot body shotting with Arbalest and the likes of like Gerfalcon. Abilities. Solar subclasses. Gunslinger, knock 'em down. Golden Gun now provides 15% damage resistance to Deadshot Golden Gun and no longer provides bonus duration. No longer provides a 15% bonus damage resistance to Marksman Golden Dodge. Note, after seeing this play out in the wild, it's clear that there wasn't enough differentiation between Deadshot and Marksman Golden Gun, primarily due to Deadshot benefiting significantly more from Knock 'em Down's bonus duration, as seen by the number of 7th, 8th, and 14th column videos in recent months. Yeah, so essentially it's getting a nerf, guys. We want to push these two enhanced supers further apart to solidify Marksman Golden Gun as the option where you can take your time to aim your shot from range, and Deadshot as a more in-the-fray option. We believe that doubling up on bonuses and the bonus duration was confusing these identities and not giving them enough space to breathe. Yeah, fair enough. Bungie also does not like it. Like, whenever you guys start posting like anything beyond 7th columns and you're like just going balls deep into the enemy, like, they don't like that. They look for ways to cut that down. Blade Barrage. Blade Barrage bonus projectiles reduced from 5 to 3 per group. Now releases a total of 20 knives, plus 43% from base, down from 24. Okay. All right. No, while it was refreshing to see Blade Barrage topping the charts as a change of pace, the stacking bonuses from 6.1.0's PvE damage increase in consistency, improvements, and Knock 'em Down's bonus knives in combination with other build crafting elements pushed the burst damage of Blade Barrage above where we were comfortable with burst super's damage. supers being. We believe that this will still be a strong option for burst damage without being as much of an outlier. Yeah, Blade Barrage was the best. Like literally the best damage for the DPS. It was so good. It pretty much beat everything, and it was like a, you know, one and done. We'll have to see how much of a nerf this actually is, and do a side-by-side comparison, especially the likes of, you know, what was it? Tether with Orpheus, the new Arc super that came last season, which actually does really good damage too. But Blade Barrage was definitely surpassing all of them. Dawnblade Celestial Fire increases close range melee damage from 90 to 100. So players using Celestial Fire and all model melee options are no longer disadvantaged in close range melee fights. General Ember of Torches, Radiant base duration reduced from 10 seconds to now 8 seconds. Now applies a minus 10 discipline penalty while equipped. Ember of Solace now provides a 50% bonus to Radiant duration rather than a flat 5-second buff. Okay, that's interesting. So stacks off of, so it would be 4 seconds here. Yeah, for the base duration. Was a 50% bonus to Radiant duration. No, this is consistent with its behavior with Restoration. Restoration times 1. Restoration times 1 base healing rate reduced from 25 to 20 health per second. 40 health per second in PvE activities, down from 50. So it's a nerf for PvP and PvE. Restoration times 2, base healing rate reduced from 40 to 32.5 health per second. 65 health per second in PvE activities, down from 80. No longer stacks with healing rifts healing. The stronger heal over time value is prioritized and will stop the weaker heal over time from taking effect. All right.
Nice.
Void subclasses, Night Stalker, Shadow Shot, Deadfall. Increase Tether Anchor lifetime when triggered from 8 seconds to 12 seconds. Shadow Shot, Mobius Quiver. Reduce the Tether Anchor lifetime when triggering from 8 seconds to 6 seconds. All right, so more in line. Kind of like what we saw a second ago with Marksman and Deadfall. Like, they're trying to push Deadfall to what it's supposed to do, which is like to lock down an area. Mobius Quiver to be more of a DPS super, right? Sinnoh, Shield Bash. Improve reliability of the suppression application when hitting the primary target under poor network conditions. All right. Voidwalker, Nova Bomb, Vortex. Increase initial projectile speed by 21%. Okay. We're not at like a Lance levels of projectile speed, but it is an increase. They want it to be a more reliable shutdown super. I think the only way you're going to do it is if you give it Lance speed. Like, it's got to be that fast. Or give it Shatter, one or the other. Increase radius of the inward pull impulse on impact by 17%. Increase strength of the inward pull impulse on impact by 20%. Note, Vortex Nova Bomb has felt like a niche option for a while now, and we want to improve its viability relative to Cataclysm Nova Bomb by doubling down as a unique pull impulse. We also felt like it was too easy to undershoot targets at close to mid ranges. Increasing the initial projectile speed should help players catch their intended target more reliably. General Void Overshield. Fix an issue where the Void Overshield was only providing a 25% PvE only damage resistance to the Overshield rather than the intended 50%. Oh, okay. Okay, good buff. Stasis subclass Revenant, Winter Shroud. Fragment slots increased from 1 to 2. Shade Binder, Glacial Harvest. Reduced cooldown on Stasis Shard creation per 6 shards from 15 seconds to now 10 seconds. Gotcha. Behemoth. Rock class of Fragment slots increased from 1 to 2. Stasis Grenades. Dustfield Grenades increase slow stack application rates on players by 13%. Cold Snap Grenade. Cold Snaps can now track targets for 0.5 seconds after creation rather than immediately finding a target and traveling toward their last known position. We need to test out Cold Snap. Yeah. I think Cold Snaps are going to be much better now. Base Cold Snap Grenades will not meet our reliability bar and too frequently getting stuck in the environment or missing targets that had not significantly changed position. Our goal with this change is to increase Cold Snap's reliability without compromising the ability for potential victims to relocate and avoid being frozen. General Stasis Slow. Increased movement speed penalty while slowed by 10%. Whisper Rendering now provides bonus damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets for all primary weapons rather than just kinetic primary weapons. Are we going into a game, guys? I'm reading patch notes right now.
We've got a duo again.
Okay, no problem. Arc subclasses, Arc Strider, Tempest Strike. Increase Tempest Strike damage against PvE combatants by 30%. Strike or Ballistic Slam increased Ballistic Slam damage against PvE combatants by 16%. Okay. Touch of Thunder, Storm Grenade, pretty much all around a nerf here. Decrease Touch of Thunder Storm Grenade base roaming duration from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. Decrease the bonus lifetime granted by Spark of Magnitude to the enhanced Storm Grenade from 2 seconds to now 1.5 seconds. Fix an issue that caused the enhanced Storm Grenade's effective area to be difficult to understand in PvP. Previously, the friend or foe rings surrounding a Touch of Thunder Storm Grenade's lightning strikes blinked on and off between strikes, and there was no indication within the cloud itself of whether or not it was friend or foe. Now the ring persists through the life of the storm, and enemy storms having an additional VFX layer in the cloud itself to help differentiate them from those created by allies. We used it in PvE earlier. Lord of Thunder build's still a very good build, guys. It's just in PvP, it's easier to avoid it now that the ring doesn't blink off. Like that was such a troll last. You think you're good, and all of a sudden it's like you're surrounded. Stormcaller Ball Lightning increased travel distance from 27.5 meters to 35 meters. Chain Lightning increased damage against PvE combatants by 50%. That's actually a really big buff there. I'm trying to think what. Granted, I mean, Winter's Guile got a nerf, so it's like, all right, you know, like, well, what are we doing with this, right? Arc Soul, increased base damage versus PvE combatants from 35 to 60. Note, with the release of Season 19, we increased Arc Soul's base damage in PvE from 25 to 35, but it's clear that that wasn't enough to help them feel particularly useful in high-end PvE activities. So we decided to swing harder this time. We'll keep an eye on this one as the season progresses to make sure these are landing where we hope for. We're actually using Arc Soul in PvP right now, but again, this is a PvE-only buff. Chaos Reach reduced base cooldown from 916 to now 735, so it moved up a tier. All right, power and progression. Vision issue with Shawhan's supply chest in the Cosmodrome could award items that have been removed from the game. Vision issue where Europa and Beyond Light content may have been inaccessible to some players. Focusing. You can no longer preview a focusing in room where you have no eligible items to crypts. Oh, wow. Okay. Dares of Eternity, daily and weekly bounties from Xur and Starhorse now rewards Strange Favor Reputation. The amount of Strange Favor Reputation earned by completing Dares on Legend difficulty has been increased. Destiny 2, Year 4 weapons and armor sets and Tangled Short armor sets have been added to the Dares of Eternity reward pool. Oh, okay. Destiny 2, Year 3 weapons and order no longer available. Destination armor sets from Io, Mars, Mercury, and Titan have been removed from Dares of Eternity rewards pool. Destination materials. All existing in-game resource of destination materials will be disabled. Players will no longer earn destination materials via interacting with resource nodes, opening chests, or completing public events, finishing strikes, etc. Harvesting resource nodes will now grant you Glimmer and XP directly instead of destination materials. By the way, guys, you can trade in all of these things. Glacier, Star Wars, Dustlight Shorts, all these things there to Raoul. He gives you a ton of Glimmer for it. It's a great for material exchange. And right here, you see the material exchange mentioned here. Did anyone check if War Mines are legit for PvE? War Mines what? War Mines sells? No. I think it would be in your best interest to forget War Mines sales ever existed. Yes. Really. Destination material cost has been removed from upgrade module purchases. Purchasing costs from monuments to lost lives will see destination material costs replaced with legendary shard costs. As mentioned earlier in these patch notes, the Killer Tracker Ghost Shell will no longer appear on Lord Shaxx if it has already been acquired. It may be reacquired from collections. DMK Failsafe will see their current reputation system, which requires players to spend Dustlight Shards, data lasts, respectively, removed. Alright, so pretty much all that stuff, and the cost changes with it. The following ghost mods will be removed as they no longer will have any functionality in the game. Materialism for Crucible, and Gambit. The following ghost mods will see changes to their functionality. Public Defender no longer increases destination material acquisition, now offers increased Glimmer rewards. Bountiful Harvest no longer increases destination material acquisition, now offers increased Glimmer rewards. By the way, the Glimmer from public events, we did know already there. It's so good. Platforms and system fix an issue where after joining a player through a Bungie invite, attempting to join a different player by accepting a platform invite will send them to the first player's fire team. Fix an issue where emblems rewarded by completing the King's Fall raid or raid carries are missed by the raid metrics category. Fix an issue where chat disabled via in-game settings would remain inactive when players try to engage by text in the chat. General fix an issue where subclass emblems were not properly unlocked with the new light completion. Some localization stuff. French Ecto Stranger voice talent has been recast. Spanish Castilian Exo Stranger voice talent has been recast. Russian Marsov was temporarily recast for Season 19. Original talent will come back for future releases. And Lifehawk expansion renamed for Portuguese BR to Cuda Delu. I don't freaking know, guys. I'm sorry. All right, that's your patch notes. Slap that like button like your mama told you right.